Rock on, Sabs.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Boom, shakalaka laka, boom, shakalaka laka, boom. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Greetings.
Oh, I got a greetings. Nice. All right. The orange dude and the polka dot lady are here right in front of you to say hello. Welcome to the Sabby and Jaybe show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. I am your host, Jaybe, James Fauntleroy. If you're nasty. Sorry. I'm sorry. What the hell's in that tea?
Oh,
so good
Jaybe.
to see you. I know. Anyways, the Sabby and Jaybe show is every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can find us there. Also, you can also find Sabby Sabs on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can also find her on her own channel tonight at 8, right?
That's right.
All right. And then you can find me on the Jaybe show on Sundays at 1. And then you can find me on my channel on the Jaybe show, Jaybe Font show on Tuesdays at 2. Also, if you guys are new, please make sure to give us a like. And also to all the subscribers on Patreon, we thank you so very much. And to the members, we thank you also so very much for allowing us to be able to do this and to come into your homes and deliver this information to you on a daily basis. It means a lot. Also, just so you guys know, we also fundraise for our graphics designer, Aaron. Our graphics designer, Aaron, does an amazing job. Our graphics design, Aaron, is prolific and prodigious in what she does. Please make sure to give, if you like, at Venmo at Revolutionary Blackout or Cash App $ Mutual Aid Forever, because we like to make sure that Aaron gets paid what she deserves. And speaking of thumbnails, this is what she created. This is a good one. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some stuff. There's some things that Sabby doesn't even know we're going to talking about tonight. Isn't that right, Sabs?
That's true. I'm curious. I don't know what you got planned here.
Half of the stream is a secret. I'll keep your secrets. And the only person who else is in on it is Roger Meadows. Isn't that great?
I wonder what you guys are up to.
Oh boy, child, you ain't have no idea. Child, please look. We got it. Look, you're gonna be cringing and laughing. That's all I know.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now we're gonna say hello to everybody in the chat. We're gonna make this quick because we got some stuff to get into. So we have Verena's video says Luxo RBN family about to cook. Oh, are we cooking? Yeah, we cooking. Steve Wolfbank says, hello, fam. So good to see you. We got Mastermind Hour saying, Steve. And then Steve, hi, Mastermind. We have Sean Miller saying, your LFG best birthday stream. Wait, today's your birthday, Sean?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Sean.
I had to do a dance while Sabby was singing. All right. GV Black says, double check you like the video. Thank you. Thank you so very much. All right, we have Desert Mantis coming in saying, welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you can attend. Come inside, stay home. All right. We have Steve Wolbrank saying, hi, Mantis. All right. And then we have Wadi coming in saying, hey, everybody. Gosh, my brain is, I'm losing my memory. Did I say hello? Did you say hello already? Messed mine hour. Anyway, hello. Good to see you. We have Bryce Smith coming in saying, what's up, Sabby and Jaybe? Sup, everyone. All right. And then we have everybody saying hello to everybody. Don't you love it? We have Rick Solis coming in saying, hey, y'all. So good to see you, Rick. All right. We have the Jam Mom coming in saying, peace, everyone. And Graham Jones. I don't think I've ever saw you in here before, Graham, but nice to have you. Says these hosts are just silly socialist activists. I'm definitely serious. I'm definitely silly. Sorry. I'm silly. All right. So good to see you. YepX says, this is completely unrelated, JB, but I have a question. Does Compton J have a saying or a phrase he uses often? Don't want to spoil on while I'm asking though. Oh, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't heard him say the same thing twice. Kind of like, wearing the same outfit twice. I don't think he has said the same thing twice.
Curious,
Jose says, blessings to you, JB and Sabby. Hope all is well. Blessings to the entire RBN family. Thank you so much. Fred Edward coming in saying hello. Good to see you, Fred Edward. We have Roger Meadows saying, hey. Naido, as of now, to send you. Okay. I don't know what that means. Anyways, hey, good to see you, Roger. Carrie Scott says, we need free healthcare like the fire department. Medicare sucks. Thank you so very much for that. And then we have Wesley coming in saying, hey, gang. We have Air T Red saying, hey, what's good? Good to see you, Air T Red. Abboting 71 coming in and saying, Corn Pop was the grip on the show Lamb Chop 84. 89.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that show.
What show?
Lamb Chop. Is he talking about Lamb Chop? It's Lamb Chop, sing along.
Oh, yeah, I remember that show.
Lamb Chop, sing along.
Okay. All right. Chip Walter says, love you all. Love you back, Chip Walter. All right. I already emailed him, and then I tried to call. No answer. So I'll try back again. But, yeah, thanks, Roger. And let me see. All right. Oh, Roger said typo. No, don't. That's okay. You still have good stuff to share. Net Rando says hit that like button. And I Eat Paste says, hey, comrades. Okay. So what are we talking about today? Let's get into it. So there's a reason why we have Bishop T.D. Jakes in there. I bet you guys are wondering why.
Oh, God. I have so much to say. I have so much.
Oh, boy. Oh, you'll get a chance to say it, Seth, because that's what we're here for. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say because I'm excited. Okay, so
can we explain to people who he is? Because not
Sure.
everybody may be aware.
Sure. Okay, let's do that first.
So T.D. Jakes is a pastor. He is a pastor of one of those mega churches. So his church is huge, right? He's on TV, like he's a pastor of one of those churches that is on television. So just to give you an idea, he's written multiple books, yada, yada, yada. And he's made a lot of money off of this. Okay, so similar to some of the other TV, we used to call them televangelists, Joel Osteen, same thing, Creflo Dollar, like they're pastors at these mega churches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and TD Jakes has even been in Tyler Perry movies. He's been on with Oprah, and so he's go to the black community and ask anybody who TD Jakes is. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know who he is."
Right.
And a lot of white people know who he is too, but he's So with these televangelists, I already have a problem with them from the outset. I know a lot of us do, especially those of us who are more anti-capitalist, because these televangelists typically have a reputation of, pulling money out of people, especially people who don't have it, and using the premise of God will bless you if you give me money, when in reality, God's blessing you because you got the money in your account already. Why are you giving this to somebody who actually doesn't need it? I'm gonna be good, but that's the type of person that TD Jakes is. Yes, Ricky Jones. Yes.
Yeah. And
Allegedly.
they make a lot of money, like a lot of money off of this. So that's just something just to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, should I start off with the first TikTok video? Because the thing is, the only thing I'm nervous about the TikTok video is that it shows a clip of the CBS News. That's the only thing I'm a little bit afraid of.
Is it CBS Morning? Is that the name of the show? I think I've shown that show before. We should be fine with that.
We should. Okay. All right. Just being careful because I don't want us to get, a copyright claim. Okay. So basically, there's an unholy alliance that's happening. So let's take a look at what it is. This is gonna be a doozy, y'all.
It's something.
Damn right.
Fargo is committing to up to $1 billion to fund these projects. Pay for is the way we put it. That's not a donation, right? That's an investment. No. They want to make money off it.
Well, no, it's not. I don't know what they want to do, but it's not a donation. It's a commitment to supporting initiatives to raise up communities that have been repressed.
So he's talking about allying himself with Wells Fargo Bank. That's what he's referring about. So.
Was Wells Fargo your only option on this, or what made you comfortable with Wells Fargo? And the reason I ask that is, they have a recent history. In fact, just in December, they paid a $3.7 billion fine to settle accusations of illegal overdraft fees, illegal fees tied to car loans, illegal fees tied to mortgages. This is money they were taking out of the pockets of low-income people that you're trying to help now.
Right, and that's exactly the reservations that I had with them as well. Initially, several years ago, when they talked to me, I would not do business with them for those very reasons. That settlement that came from the previous administration. They have a new leader now. They have a new administration, and they're beginning to right some of the wrongs. This is not going to right it all at once, but it is a start toward justifying and rectifying some of the mistakes that have been made previously. The other reason is when the bank stood back and looked, Wells Fargo stood up and said, I'm willing to make this unlikely alliance, this very unique alliance. I've written a book called Disruptive Thinking, and this disruptive alliance between us is designed to lift up underserved, underrepresented communities.
What do you get out of this, Bishop?
No. Wells Fargo would not be engaged in this at all if there wasn't something in it for them. They would not be engaged in this at all if they're not profiting off of it in some way, shape, or form. They are a bank.
Yeah.
They're a bank. Wells Fargo was one of the banks that was complicit with stealing people's homes during the housing crisis in 2008. Wells Fargo was a part of that. You have an echo coming on your end, Jaybe. Wells Fargo was a part of that, guys. I just want to make that very clear. They were one of the banks that was stealing homes from Black elders during the 2008 housing crisis, the subprime mortgage crisis. And yet TD Jakes feels comfortable working with them. We can go back to the video because she does ask him, what is he getting out of it? And I think that's important as well.
Of this, Bishop, being involved in this partnership?
First and primary thing for me is legacy. You know, it's a legacy piece for me. I want to give back. I want to do something for people who have been loyal and faithful to me and people that I know and love. Right. The second thing that I get out of it is knowing that we have headed off a collision. That the stats say that by 2050, the average median income for Black people is going to be zero. And so we have got to get in front of this with STEAM, with technology, with job creation, with entrepreneurship.
I declare, honey.
Pause. I'm sorry. He's given incorrect information. So when he talks about 2050, when he talks about what the income, the median income is going to be for Black people in 2050, he said $0. He has his vocabulary mixed up. The net worth for Black people in 2050 is predicted to be $0, not the income. Those are two different things. The income, your income is what you earn. That's your hourly wage, your salary wage, etc. Your net worth is what you own minus what you owe. They're not the same thing. And he sat right there on CBS Mornings. They did not correct him because they probably don't even know, but that doesn't even make any sense. If you think about it, how is the income going to be zero? Like, that doesn't make sense. So that's incorrect information. And then two, the other thing that he said when she asked him, like, what is he going to get out of it? He said legacy. I get to give back to the community is what he said. He can give back to the community without partnering with Wells Fargo. You don't need to do that. Rome gives back to the community doing tour for the poor. He's not partnered with Wells Fargo. Do you see what I'm saying? This is a scam. Go ahead, Jaybe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That information was incorrect.
No, you're absolutely right. And the fact is that it's like, what is TD Jakes getting out of it? Money. Like, why in the hell else do you get into another business venture with somebody? Like, it's very simple. And the fact is that you got a lot of people who go, well, he's just trying to give back to the community. How do you give back to the community by, like, earning millions more dollars off of it? How do you get him giving back? It doesn't make sense to me. So, and they actually talk about TD Jakes' different corporations and nonprofits. Yes, he actually owns corporations and nonprofits.
Yep.
And I'll get into that. Yeah. I'm sorry. TD Jakes is getting paid for his Gulfstream jet. Yeah. Basically, you know.
Just another way for him to make more money. That's what this is about. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. You got to partner with a bank to give back to the community.
Does that make sense? Wait, hang on. Ask that question again.
About the legacy?
Yeah, ask that question again.
She said, yeah, she asked him, she said, what are you getting out of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, like, do you really need to partner with a bank to give back?
No, you don't. Right. Take some of those donations that he gets from his church and use some of those donations to give back to the community instead of like helping fill his pockets. We'll talk about this in a sec. I'll get into the whole thing about the Black church and the money, and I'll get into all that. But go ahead and finish the video, Jaybe.
Gotcha.
What a disgrace. Not this Wells Fargo, the same that was sued for racial discrimination in mortgage lending practices. Federal lawsuit says that Wells Fargo discriminated against Black and Latino homebuyers in Sacramento, California by pushing them into more expensive mortgages than white borrowers. So according to these lawsuits, Wells Fargo allegedly infringed on Black people and Latino people by pushing them into more expensive mortgages than white people. But when they weren't doing that, they rejected half of their Black applicants in mortgage refinancing boom. Same Wells Fargo, in 2020, they agreed to pay $3 billion to resolve criminal and civil investigations into sales practices involving the opening of millions of accounts without customer authorization. They were also charging people excessive amounts of overdraft fees, different type of fees, all kinds of things. And also, a Wells Fargo loan officer said in an affidavit that employees had referred to Black people as mud people and also called their loans ghetto loans. So Wells Fargo is going to make $1 billion investment into the community that they once took advantage of instead of it being a donation. And TD Jakes is also going to make money with the company that did things like this. Players, let me know what you're thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Just another way for him to make more money. Like this, it's embarrassing, I think, to the Black community. Listen, like, even if you did decide to partner with a bank, why not partner with a credit union, right? Why a large bank like Wells Fargo? I really hope people don't fall for this, JB. You're muted.
I was going to say, given the history of Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo has a long history, and it's not good. And I got some of the history already. TD Jakes should be ashamed of himself. And I am not mincing my words. As a Black man, no self-respecting Black person would get behind Wells Fargo. I'm going to say that right there. No self-respecting Black person would align themselves with Wells Fargo in that manner. No. If you know the history about Wells Fargo, you'll be like, who the hell does this man think he is? Now,
Well, it's just like at the end of the day, TD Jakes is just another capitalist.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day.
So I have a couple of articles, actually. The first one is an op-ed that was written. Ew, get out of here. Okay, so let me make sure this is big enough. So this is an opinion article. It says, we shouldn't buy Bishop TD Jakes' claim that Wells Fargo has changed its ways. It says the bank has paid billions of dollars to settle claims that it has discriminated against or otherwise taken advantage of its customers. Look at that suit. Just look at the suit. You know that, look, how many rent payments he could have helped people out with just for that suit alone.
Yep.
Anywho, let me go on. Okay, so it says Bishop TD Jakes, arguably the most well-known Black religious leader in the United States, and whose Dallas church, the Potter's House, ranks among the country's largest congregations, has announced a new 10-year deal between TD Jakes' group and Wells Fargo to build mixed-income communities in underserved neighborhoods. Bullshit. Even though the partnership is not with his church, Jakes is still best known as a pastor and in working with a financial institution that's been repeatedly accused of racist lending practices. Jakes will likely be hurting Black community he says he wants to help. Indeed, his partnership with Wells Fargo is tantamount to his working with the fox to raid the hen house. Why? Says, well, for almost 20 years, Wells Fargo has had an abysmal record in the African-American community regarding mortgages and loans. According to federal prosecutors, starting 4 years before the 2008 financial crisis that had caused the Great Recession, Wells Fargo, the fourth largest bank in the United States, discriminated by steering approximately 4,000 African American and Hispanic wholesale borrowers, as well as additional retail borrowers, into subprime mortgages when non-Hispanic white borrowers with similar credit profiles received prime loans. And then this is going to be important because you have people out there in Baltimore, Sabby, says Baltimore city officials complained that at the time, Wells Fargo policies had pushed hundreds of borrowers into into foreclosure. So the thing is that somebody like, TD Jakes getting with Wells Fargo, you might as well be partnering with the KKK, in my opinion.
There you go.
And that is not hyperbole when I get to the history. It's not hyperbole at all. And so this is just bad on its face. In fact, just to give you guys a little bit of background, there is another article, and this one is actually out of the New York Times that I'm going to share with you guys. So this is out of the New York Times. It says, bank accused of pushing mortgage deals on blacks. This is out of 2009. It says, as she describes it, Beth Jacobson and her fellow loan officers at Wells Fargo Bank rode the stagecoach from hell for a decade, systematically singling out blacks in Baltimore and suburban Maryland for high-interest subprime mortgages. These loans, Baltimore officials have claimed in a federal lawsuit against Wells Fargo, tipped hundreds of homeowners into foreclosure and cost the city tens of millions of dollars in taxes and city services. Wells Fargo, Mrs. Jacobson said in an interview, saw the black community as fertile ground for subprime mortgages, as working class blacks were hungry to be part of the nation's home owning mania. Loan officers, she said, push customers who have qualified for prime loans into subprime mortgages. Another loan officer stated that in an affidavit last week that employees had referred to blacks as mud people and subprime lending as ghetto loans. So what this lady on the TikTok video said was absolutely true. And the thing is that this is the type of bank that Wells Fargo is that they are a racist with a history of racism institution.
Yep. And that's who he chose to partner with.
Mm-hmm. And then I'll read this last paragraph here. It says, for 4 years later, in 2012, Wells Fargo was ordered to pay by the Justice Department $175 million to settle allegations that it discriminated against African American and Hispanic borrowers between 2004 and 2009. Wells Fargo denied that it had actually discriminated against, in a statement said that, quote, "We at Wells Fargo is settling this matter solely for the purpose of avoiding contested litigation with the Department of Justice," end quote. The $175 million included $125 million to borrowers who were discriminated against and $50 million in direct down payment assistance to borrowers in communities around the country where the department identified large numbers of discrimination victims and which were hard hit by the housing crisis. So, when you talk about Wells Fargo, it just goes deep. And there's more to this article that I want to get into, and then I'll get into some of the history of Wells Fargo as well. It is very gritty, and I'm gonna be honest with you. When I get into the history of Wells Fargo, some of you guys may not want to continue to watch this stream because it is going to get gritty. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now. All right, so it says in 2018, the National Black Church Initiative, a coalition of 150,000 African Americans and Latino churches that fight racial disparities, announced nationwide boycott of Wells Fargo because that history of pushing subprime loans on Black people. But complaints against the bank didn't end. In a class action lawsuit filed in California in April 2022, Wells Fargo was once again accused of racist lending. According to plaintiffs in that class action lawsuit, Black loan applicants with high credit scores were given interest rates that were higher than white loan applicants with high credit scores.
Yep.
And then let's get into this. As despite what the company says in its statements about its commitment to fair hiring practices and fair lending practices, there appears to be a pattern with Wells Fargo, one that the National Black Church Initiative thought was troubling enough to call for a boycott. Why then is Jake's partnering with a lender that has an abysmal record with the communities he says he wants to serve? As an April 27th appearance with CBS Mornings, announced his partnership, Jakes was asked about the illegal overdraft fees, illegal fees tied to car loans, illegal fees tied to mortgages that led to a $3.7 billion settlement with the CFPB. He said that those bad practices were, quote, exactly the reservations that I had with them as well. Initially, several years ago, when they talked to me, I would not do business with them for those very reasons, end quote. As Jake said, the settlement came out of years from previous administration. They have a new leader now. So just because they have a new leader, quote unquote, then it's all good now. Sabby, do you buy that?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Like, this is, again, it just, for me, it's problematic. I don't care if they have a new leader. There were other banks he could have gone to if he wanted to partner with the bank. You see what I mean? Like, why didn't you reach out to any of the credit unions? You know, why did you reach out to a black bank?
Yeah.
Why not that? Like, why would you? Only because you have something to gain from it, right? This is why he has something to gain for it. This is not just about him trying to help out the black community. I don't buy that for one bit, because it was just about that. Then you wouldn't be partnering with someone like Wells Fargo. He's getting something out of this deal, and they're getting something out of this deal.
And the thing is that one of the things that I, think that, him doing this, and he doesn't care about the black community as much as he claims he does, because he's not a stupid person. TD Jakes is a smart man. And the thing is that he knows where his bread is buttered. And so he's going after this just from a purely capitalistic standpoint.
That's right.
Now, Jakes has pointed out that Wells Fargo is partnering with TD Jakes Group, not the Porterhouse's church. According to news release, TD Jakes Group includes TD Jakes Real Estate Ventures, TD Jakes Enterprises, and then TD Jakes Foundation. TD Jakes Real Estate Venture has purchased about 100 acres at Fort McPherson outside of Atlanta that will be the first part of a mixed income community Jakes intends to build. And then it says Jake's description of Wells Fargo makes it sound as if a lender has an altruistic motivation. But for a lender with such an abysmal history with black people, this partnership with Jake's gives Wells Fargo legitimacy.
See? Because there are people who really like TD Jakes, and they'll say, well, if TD Jakes is, working with them, they must be okay now.
Yeah. And so, this is just really, we all know what this is about. And this last paragraph I'll read, it says, when a reporter on CBS Mornings asked Jakes what he's getting out of the partnership, he said, first, one primary thing for me is legacy. It's a legacy piece for me. I want to give back. I want to do something for the people who have been loyal and faithful to me instead of God, and people that I know and love, right? But the article says, but the legacy of prosperity pastors, and Jakes is one of the most prominent, is the problem. The marriage of conservative Christian values and finance is an old story, and it often does not turn out well. In the past, we've seen well-meaning believers get fleeced by pastors touting financial freedom. This is the prosperity gospel in action. The prosperity never seems to reach the people who need it. It says TD Jakes has long regarded himself as a successful businessman, and he obviously is. But by entering a partnership with a company with such a racist history, the country's most visible black preacher put himself in a questionable company. I think it's beyond questionable to me, to be honest with you.
He's able to overlook it because, again, at the end of the day, he's just trying to find another way to make more money. So he's able to just overlook that. And it's crazy, and we've talked about this before, right? Like the issue that we've had with and not all, but some of like the black church, and this idea that like you're supposed to come to church and you're supposed to pay tithe, and then it's like if you don't have money for tithe one Sunday, then you're kind of, people look at you kind of funny, like, oh, you know, you're supposed to give at least 10% of your income and to tithe and all that kind of stuff. And meanwhile, like some of these pastors of these, well, no, all the pastors of the mega churches are making bank, and you have people that are part of the congregation that are trying to figure out if they're going to be able to pay rent next month. Meanwhile, the pastor is pulling up to the church in like a BMW or a Mercedes, has a private jet, has a huge house. The church doesn't pay any taxes. And you giving all your, you know, giving what you're supposed to, you're told you're supposed to the church, is supposed to go to the church. But at the same time, you have some of these pastors like living like celebrities. And it's just a slap in the face to me, because if it's really supposed to be about giving back, and if they always continue to say that, like, you know, the Bible, Jesus says, come as you are don't mean come with money. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not what that means. And I just feel like that idea of the black church, it got away from what it used to be, which was giving back to the community. This is not to say they don't do any type of charity. I'm sure that they do. But anytime the pastor, this goes back to the issue we have with the billionaires. Anytime the pastor got all of this, and you got people in the congregation that have very little, that's a problem.
Yeah. And my thing is that you're already being exploited at work, and now you're being exploited at the place where you worship.
Can I just explain to people, for people who did not grow up in the church, you guys have to understand, like I grew up in the church, you grew up in the church. Like, it wasn't like you just went to church on Sunday. No. You went to church on Sunday, and then we had Bible study, which was on Wednesday. Then if you were, when I was younger, I was part of the youth, you know, the youth group. So then there was the meetings for the youth group. Every time you walked through that building, you gave money. You gave money during Bible study. You gave money on Sunday for Sunday service. And you gave money when you went to like those youth meetings.
Now, for me, it was different because I belong to Jehovah's Witnesses. And so they didn't pass around, you know, the plate or anything like that. It was all supposed to be voluntary donations. So they had boxes in the back, and then you just gave of, you know, what you could. So it wasn't as bad, but they still have that organization still made millions. But the thing is that for Sabby, yes, I had the Sunday meeting, then I had Tuesday book study, then on Thursday it was the Theocratic Ministry School of Service meeting. Then on Saturdays, we had to get up early and we had to go door to door preaching. And so it was that. Not to mention the circuit assemblies, the special day assemblies, and the district conventions.
Yeah, don't forget about the
All
conventions.
that too.
And you have to pay to go to those conventions. And then another thing is, if you don't really have the money to pay to go to the conventions, then another thing would happen. Like, they would try to make people feel bad because they weren't going. And it's just kind of like, look, either you have the money to go or you don't have the money to go. And that was another thing that just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. It was just like, why do you have to do all of this? Like, every time I turn around, you asking for more money. And I don't really see any improvements on this building. This building still looked the same as it did when I first started coming here. So where's the money going? And these are questions that I always had. Anytime you got the pastor living in this huge house, fancy cars, living like celebrities, and then the people in the congregation living in apartments. And I feel like people just wouldn't push back on this. People wouldn't push back because they were like, you know, they don't want to be shamed. They don't want to be, they don't want them to make them feel like bad for asking those questions. But you should ask those questions. When I give you tithes on Sunday, where is that money going?
Look, if you're a religious person, God gave you a brain. God gave you a brain to ask these questions too. Because look, if it's okay for Jesus to go to the scribes and Pharisees and call them hypocrites and offspring of vipers, you don't think it is not godly to tell people at TD Jakes to his face who he is? I'm sorry, but you're doing the same thing that Jesus did. Like, look, if y'all want to get religious, we can do it. All right? Because this is the same person. Jesus was the same guy that said, hey, look, if you got a poor person among you, you put that person in the front. You put that person and you prop the poor person up over everybody else. Because that person is the person that you guys need to be serving the most, is the people who are the most needy. And the thing is that they're not Christian. Look, if you believe in Christianity, TD Jakes is not a Christian. Look, I said what I said. I said what I said. He's not. None of those people who enslaved us were Christians back then. They just used the religion of Christianity and the Bible to keep us enslaved.
He's a businessman, Jaybe. He's a businessman. Anytime you take Christianity and you make it a business, this guy has like best-selling books, and he's not alone. Like, again, it's not just him. It's also Joel. What's Joel Austin or whatever? He's a fake one.
You mean the man that likes to smile all the time and he has a friendly Southern accent when he looks at you with the little twinkle in his eye?
I'm just like, this guy he just comes across, as an actor to me. But it's just, you have to be you got to be careful. You really got to be careful about these types of things. But at the end of the day, it's like they're just capitalists. Like, yeah, they may, preach about the Bible and things like that, but they try to make money off of it. It's like, I'm sorry, but when it gets to the point where you have private jets.
Look, people like Joel Osteen and TD Jakes would have been the same people that Jesus would have chased out of the church, temple. I'm just being real. And there's a lot of people who are in different religions. Mormon church. He would have did the same thing to them.
Creflo Dollar. His last name was Dollar.
Creflo Dollar. Good Lord.
I'm like, people really like buy into, it's just at some point or another, you just have to look back and like take a look around. It's like, do you think that's morally okay? Do you think it's morally okay for the pastor of the congregation to have a private jet?
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, no. And also just to get back into the whole thing about
there's a second TikTok vid if you got it.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me get into that because I was going to read this history of, but that gritty stuff, I'll excuse me. I'll save for a second.
A brother in Christ is back in the news today, and it's not for what he thinks. So CBS Morning News announced that TD Jakes Group and Wells Fargo are announcing a 10-year partnership to build inclusive communities. TD Jakes stated, and I quote, "We're the people we've been waiting for," who details his mixed income communities could provide for residents. And of course, is not having it. So this person had tweeted and said, the same Wells Fargo that denied 53% of Black mortgage applicants? The same Wells Fargo that charges Black clients, including those with higher credit scores, an average higher interest rates of 3.34% compared to 3.23% for white borrowers? Yes, honey, that same Wells Fargo. Someone else has said in 2012, Wells Fargo was sued for discrimination. In 2016, 2019, 2020, and 2022. And of course, in 2023. In one lawsuit filed in February involving claims by a Georgia resident, Chris Williams, that the bank had tried to charge him a higher interest rate for his credit score warranted when he looked to refinance his home in 2019. After his attorneys got word of that, they're going to file a class action lawsuit against Wells Fargo in 2023. Reverend Mrs. Mommy says racist and corrupt corporations and politicians always go to Black churches to do their dirty work and get their foot in the door. Don't trust them. Stay away from Wells Fargo. Another person has said this: the irony is that TD Jakes has partnered with a bank that called Black folks mud people, plus served them ghetto loans in Baltimore and other cities. He goes on to say that this project is being completed in my old hood, which is the zip code at the time was the #1 for mortgage fraud in America. Somebody else said, sigh. First, anything involving Wells Fargo and Black people raises a red flag. Also, is TD Jakes auditioning to be the black face of gentrification? Mixed-use houses often leaves out many poor and working-class Black folks. This is suspect. Wells Fargo, my brother in Christ. And probably my favorite tweet. Somebody said this: Wells Fargo and the man behind the shade room are working together. This is about to be the most exploitative financial program built after Jay-Z and his crypto camp. And I couldn't agree more.
There you go. Shale said, please hit the like button for Sabby and Jaybe. This episode is so important to me. I lost my home in 2008. See?
Oh my gosh, Shale, I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Yeah, there are real people behind this, man.
Yeah.
Joey Nichols said, how about when Jesus told Creflo Dollar to ask for his flock to buy him a $65 million plane? Now that was classic. Oh my God.
I'm telling you.
Look, let me show y'all what Wells Fargo is. Viewer discretion advised, by the way.
Hold on to your seats for this one.
Okay. It says African Americans boycott Wells Fargo with their slave masters' history. As Wells Fargo, the bank is one of the oldest and largest banks in the United States, dating back over 170 years of doing banking business nationwide and internationally. Wells Fargo was funded by Henry Williams and William G. Fargo in March 18, 1852, in conjunction with many successful financial investors and realtors who had background and heritage in the ownership of Black slaves and indentured Native American servants. Wells Fargo Bank was also in the business of shipping goods from the East Coast to the West to supply provisions such as food, materials, medicine, manpower to all mining camps throughout the West Coast and the Northern California region. More so, one of the top goods and commodities distributed and shipped by Wells Fargo Bank were Native American indentured servants, Chinese illegal immigrants, and most important of all, their shipping cargo was the slave Negro man and Negro woman. Yes, the most powerful bank in America was involved in transporting slaves across the entire United States before emancipation and after the end of slavery. Indeed, Wells Fargo made a fortune during the period of the gold rush between 1849 and 1870 with the delivery of valuable documents, gold dust, tools, dynamite, food, water, etc. But the majority of their wealth came from issuing loans and grants to companies, plantation owners, and slave owners in order to increase the gold rush producing economy by providing the necessary money to slaveholders to be able to purchase more slaves and indigent servants to work the mines in the lands, as well as using Black female slaves and Indian American women servants as entertainment and actual stress release to the white men working long hours in the mines and plantation farms. It says, yes, Black America, your favorite bank was a sponsor of slave terrorism, grape, I got to be careful, child, trafficking, hanging, lynching, beating, killing of Blacks, male and female slaves at the hands of slave masters and gold miners who used Wells Fargo bank money and transportation delivery systems to usher decades of centuries of white supremacy on your Black ancestors who were slaves against their will and who were treated worse than any other slave culture around the world. So I'm going to tell you this. You know how, Sabby, when you were talking about JP Morgan and their association with Jeffrey Epstein?
Yep.
Well, this is that same thing on steroids.
Yep. And JP Morgan's history isn't good either.
No. So, and I haven't even gotten to the gritty parts of it yet, but it's bad. So it says equally important, Wells Fargo was used by thousands of white slave masters and white, you see the word, to send and receive messages about new arrivals and or sale of new black slaves and indentured servants via the use of Wells Fargo stagecoach, also known as the Butterfield Line. In 1857, Wells Fargo formed the Overland Mail Company that will then become part of the mail delivery system among slave owners, businesses, owners, child, etc., who will communicate about the availability of new black slaves and their so-called famous alligator babies, who are black babies between the ages of 2 months to 2 years old, who were stolen from black slaves by racist white men who work at the slave plantations to be used as bait and to hunt and catch alligators.
Yep. See, this is the kind of information that like your history textbooks is not going to tell you this. They're not going to tell you that part about slavery. They tell you the sugar-coated part. Yeah.
So the thing is that, yes, they used to use children, toddlers, infants and toddlers as bait for alligators.
Yep.
So this is why when black people talk about things like slavery, when we talk about things like reparations, this is the type of atrocities we're talking about, right? And the thing is that when it comes to atrocities, it's not some Olympics where we're trying to win as atrocities. But think about this. We're 13% of the population today. Shouldn't we be more?
Yeah, because it wasn't always that way in this country, especially during slavery.
Yeah. So if that being the case, Wells Fargo being one of the banks that are behind this type of genocide, not, shame on TD Jakes. Shame on him. So that's the problem,
And the thing is, the banks participated. Like even when you like you were saying with the slave trade, the banks participated. And then even after slavery ended, those same banks discriminated against black people. And Wells Fargo was still discriminating against black people this year. Like, it's not like that went away. That's the thing. That's the problem. And he's choosing to partner with them. This is not about him. Oh, okay, they have a new owner. So I'm okay now. No, this is about money. He's like, my legacy to help out the people who've been loyal to me. Loyal to him? Is he God?
You caught that too.
The weirdest thing I've ever seen. The people who've been loyal to me. What?
Yeah. It's wild. I'm looking through the comments right now. Just trying to make sure that I catch. Okay. Let me see. I got you. All right, so let's go off with some comments in the chat really quick. Danny says Wells Fargo was busted for creating fake accounts for customers without the customer's knowledge or consent also. Yeah, that was also in one of the articles, and it just sucks because the thing is that, like, for instance, Wells Fargo was one of those banks that, got away with murder, so to speak, during the 2008-2009 housing crisis, because did Obama actually give the money straight to the homeowners so that they can keep their homes?
Nope. We all know how that story went.
Yep. So yeah. Rick Soli says, I used to crank up the volume of the TV in my room early in the morning to TD Jakes preaching at the top of his lung as a prank, waking up my brothers with the word of the Lord. No, you didn't. That's funny. Roger Meadows says black churches need to turn towards black-owned credit unions and community banks and stay away from these predatory financialized institutions. Agreed.
That's right. And then it's like, as much as he talks about being a businessman and things like that, then it's like, if he was really trying to help out people in the community, he wouldn't make them have to buy his book to learn how to do what he did. It's like, and you can be a successful businessman too. All you got to do is just buy my book. And then you get one of those books and you read the whole thing, and it really doesn't give you the step-by-step process that you were looking for anyway. This is why I tell people, this is all a scam. All a scam.
Yeah. But, Sabs, think about it. If he actually gave you the step-by-steps to be as successful as he is, then you would have to learn how the sausage is made. And once you know how the sausage is made, then that's when it makes you sick to your stomach.
There you go.
If he actually told you how he did it and actually how he exploited people in order to get where he is, then people would find out that he is not the person who he says he is.
There you go.
Roger Meadows also continues, says maybe reparations from Wells Fargo could be handing it over and we make it into Black Indigenous Financial Cooperative, aka credit union. Consider handling all that profit over to us. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, if they're really trying to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of money.
Yeah, they do. Chip Walter says Wells Fargo stagecoach drivers used to massacre American bison just to starve out Native Americans. Reality Revolution says insurance companies bankrupt. Sorry, though, I'm sure not. Carrie Espinoza says Wells Fargo was the Pinkertons in my state, the Colorado. They brought out the militia to kill people in Ludlow, Colorado.
I told you guys these banks are so cruddy. They're so cruddy.
They're evil, man. Roger Mill says the pastors believe in God we trust. Yeah. Danny says Wells Fargo was busted for creating fake accounts for customers without the customers. Oh, I already read that. Okay.
I'm just saying that this is what people need to look out for. This is why I continue to tell people, keep your eye on the banks and what these banks are doing, man. Not your neighbor. It's not so much your neighbor. Mainstream media makes you think you have to worry about your neighbor. No, you need to worry about these banks and these bankers.
Yup. And when you worry about the banks, don't worry about the people at the low rung, like the tellers and people like that. They're not the problem. The problem is the people way at the top. So let me go to The Rock really quick. Dave Bird, thank you so much. Says cool to see Sabby and Jaybe here. Thank you very much. Dave Bird says Wells Fargo is the worst when we're fighting the banks on the south side of Boston in 2007 to 2014.
Yep.
Rory O'Neill, good to see you, Rory. Thank you so very much. Dave Bird says Wells Fargo is full slaver. All right. Thank you so very much. Chip Walter says, yes, Wells Fargo and the Pinkertons were the same company. Pinkerton was the biggest enemy for unions during the Industrial Revolution in USA. Not surprised.
It's all coming out.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I tell people sometimes, you have the wrong enemy. Like the person that you're mad at. Remember, these people are just pawns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Joe OWS says you can't have reparations without truth and reconciliation, and there can be no reconciliation without the truth. I seriously entertain of having the idea of truth and reconciliation panels set up.
I think Pasta was going to do something like that.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Didn't Pasta say he was going to do like reparations panel at some point?
I don't remember, but that'd be cool.
I thought he did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you from experience.
Yeah. Haber says we have to be open about calling it for what it is: a slow genocide of African American descendants of slaves and a fast genocide of Native Americans.
But not if you're TD Jakes, though.
Nope. So, yeah. And then I'll end with this. Says a non-user says the USA was founded on theft and murder. Natives of their land been the same for the next 250 years. So yeah. Yeah. So now, just to let you guys know, please make sure to like the stream. Please make sure also to, if you guys would like to get email notifications, you guys can go to revolutionaryblackout.substack.com if you guys want to get email notifications. And also, we are fundraising for our graphics designer Aaron. So if you guys would like to contribute to that, you guys can go to Venmo at Revolutionary Blackout or Cash App $ Mutual Aid Forever. And also forever, ever. All right. Now that was a deep subject. Now we're going to lighten the mood, right? We're going to aerate it, just like we're making a meringue. You know what I'm saying? Let's meringue the show. All right. So why in the world is Ron DeSantis, Kamala Harris, and Bad Bunny, why are they also on this? And it says power play.
This is the surprise, because I don't know the answer to this one.
Yeah. Surprise. Okay. All right. So all right. So let me take these other videos down because I need all my bandwidth for this one, because Sabby's gonna be like, oh no, are you serious? I'll be like, yeah. All right. So this is going to, oh Lord. All right, so you saw this before, but we really didn't get deep into it. But let's talk about the corporate media, right? The corporate media, sometimes they'll put out some cringe articles, and we're like, ugh. But this one's cringe. Oh Lord, this shows that really for them, it's just like, they embrace the left and the right quite equally, at least in my opinion. Roger, I hope you're ready with your thumbs, because you're about to start commenting a lot.
I'm curious. You got me curious, okay.
JB. All right, so what is this power player? Let's go. It says power list. This is from Politico. And if you look, it talks about, let's go. It says Politico's the recast is back with our annual power list. 40 power players who shape the intersection of race, culture, politics, and policy in 2022. Our list spans party affiliation, race and gender identities, and political ideologies. Some might ask, how can we include Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on the same list as Vice President Kamala Harris? Our answer, whether you love them or hate them, their impact on American politics cannot be denied. This list is not ranked in order in any particular way. It was created through rigorous selection process with input from various reporters and editors and, the audience through this submission form. Now, this to me seems like they're legitimizing people who have horrible politics and shit takes. That's just me. But it's fun to, to look at these people, point and laugh. But who's first? Eric Patola. As for flipping the GOP district to become the first Alaska native in Congress. Now, if I'm correct, wasn't this the person who endorsed the Willow Project?
She did. She defended it. She defended Biden's actions about that, even though it will harm indigenous communities.
I told you this is going to be cringe. You ready?
All skin folk ain't kin folk.
Mhm.
She's indigenous. She's indigenous.
Yep. Indigenous people have their Candace Owens just like we have ours.
Wow, man.
All right. Next, we have Adrian Fontes and Cisco Aguilar. As for beating election deniers to secure their roles in key battlegrounds. All right.
I don't know who those guys are.
I don't know. Bad Bunny for using his platform to put pressure on Puerto Rico's government.
What is a Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny is I think Bad Bunny is like a music performer.
Oh, is this like
Yeah.
new? Because is he hip hop? I don't know new hip hop. I don't know either. Some people in the chat might be like, "You guys don't know who this is?" I'm like, no, I don't.
No, unless he's Tupac or KRS-One, I don't know who the hell he is. I'm old.
Yeah.
We have Dimitri Askalakis as for his relentless efforts to raise awareness about the perils of mpox. I don't know what the hell mpox is.
Interesting. Don't know the dude.
Me neither. But you know who he looks like? Off of MSNBC. Chuck Todd.
I could see that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a Chuck Todd.
Although he has a full grown beard and Chuck Todd has like the seal, the little seal goatee thing, like that the seals have, that little thing,
Look, somebody needs to tell Chuck Todd that 1995 call it wants his goatee back.
No, it reminds me of Color Me Bad. Like you're
I want to sex you up. Rock, tick, tock, stop. Oh, Lord. We're going to have fun. All right. So, Byron Donalds for his rise under the spotlight for the GOP speakership drama. Oh, Lord.
They just putting anybody in this list.
Yep. Toss him in. You didn't know it's a theme, by the way. Just stick with it. Wes Moore for breaking Maryland's color barrier to become the state's first Black governor.
That's it. Like it just.
That's it.
Oh boy, it's like what you do though. What have you done?
I remember him. I remember him being on a episode of Oprah back in the day. That's why I remember him from. Kamala Harris. Wait. Let me read the caption. It says, for leading the White House fight for abortion access into the midterm.
What? Oh my God.
And they could have chosen a better picture.
How is that? How did she make the power list?
Good Lord. You're not going to like the next one, though. Oh, gosh. Sabby, this is so cringe. Elon Musk. It says for buying Twitter and changing the rules of hate speech on the platform.
They put anyone on this list now.
Yeah. You get credit just for buying Twitter? Dear God, these people.
This is terrible. Jesus.
Chris Smalls.
All right, that's legit.
Yes. For spearheading the grassroots labor movement that led to Amazon's first union. Now, This is probably one of the only people on the list that I'm cool with. Because
they should have probably listed him first.
They should have. And also, Chris Smalls was recently in Cuba for May Day.
Yep.
So I ain't gonna lie, he got some respect out of me for that. And the inside of his jacket is the Notorious B.I.G.
Yep.
So I gotta respect that. Anyway, moving on. Cheryl Griner and Lindsay Cagua-Colas says for their laser focus on securing Brittany Griner's highly publicized release. I'm not mad at this either.
Okay.
I'm not mad at that either. Because, Brittany Griner.
Yeah. That one I can understand.
Yeah. So it's like not all cringe, but this is, a couple bright spots. Catherine Cortez Masto for her Nevada win that helped Democrats hold the Senate.
That puts her on the list?
Right?
You can just put someone on that list, put so-and-so on the list because they went to work today.
Yeah. I put all my clothes on by myself this morning. Put me on the list. Put me in, go.
This is something else. Oh dear.
Okay. Anna Paulina Luna, Lori Chavez de Remer, Monica de la Cruz, and Juan Cisco-Mani says for harnessing the slow but steady shift among some Latino voters to the GOP.
That puts them on a list?
Right?
I don't understand this. What about the people who can't? Where are the people who canvassed for candidates, right? Who canvassed in phone bank? Those people should be on this list. What is this?
Oh man, they call this the power list.
Oh my God. Aye.
Reggie Bobbin for serving as a key negotiator on cannabis policy in Schumer's office.
For doing his job?
For doing his job. I mean, he got a nice edge. That's all I'll say. Nice edge. And yeah, good waves too. Anyway. This one is California Reparations Task Force for setting the standard on statewide reparations policy.
So Camilla came on to talk about that. Camilla's a part of that.
But if you notice, this is an audience pick.
Oh.
That's why it's not cringe.
Interesting.
For the most part, you're going to notice the audience picks are different than what you expect Politico to pick. So keep in mind that.
Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have been listed there.
Nope. All right. So Marjorie Dennis Felser says for being the most politically relevant voice in the anti-abortion lobby.
What do they mean by politically relevant voice? Like what for being the most politically relevant voice of the anti-abortion rally? That's a lot there. Like just
let me see. Dennis Feller watching the landmark decision die was a sweet vindication, a major victory for the wake of a decades-long effort to eradicate abortion once and for all. As president and co-founder of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, one of the most powerful anti-abortion groups in the country, she's been dubbed the woman who brought down Roe.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's who that person is. Ketanji Brown Jackson. I know. We all know who she is.
It's just these are not people I would have chosen.
No. It says for ascending to the highest court and dominating hearings with her incisiveness.
Boy, I tell you.
Yep, I tell you. Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney. Let me read it. It says for embracing bipartisanship to call out the white nationalism in the 1-6 attacks. Cringe anymore? All right.
That's just terrible. Like they're really trying. Oh boy.
Y'all know who this is. Hakeem Jeffries for consolidating power as the first Black Party leader in Congress. Consolidating power?
Like, who wrote this?
That's the real question.
Who wrote this? Consolidating power?
Consolidating. Dear God. Gosh. Retta Joe Lewis says for insisting U.S. companies play a role in global conflicts.
Just for insisting?
Okay, so Retta Joe Lewis shattered a glass ceiling when she was confirmed by the Senate in 2022 to run the Export-Import Bank of the United States, the country's only official export credit agency. Lewis serves as the first Black woman to oversee the nearly 90-year-old bank's entire portfolio as president and chair. XIM authorizes billions of dollars of export credit loans and guarantees annually a supported estimate of 10.6 billion of U.S. export sales in 2022 during Lewis's first year of office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Our country really needs like some heroes or something, right? Like, I mean, like.
Right. Shay Moss says for being the face of everyday Americans fighting attempts to overturn you know what.
Wow, man. They really were desperate for people for this list.
And
like,
they kept going to.
Well, where are all the activists, JB?
That's a good question. But you see the theme running, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having to do with 2020, sometime in January. Andy Garcia says for making the tough call to publish the 77-minute video of the Uvalde shooting.
For doing his job? Like, I don't understand. This is just cracking me up. Oh boy.
Yeah. Dear God. My congressperson, Maxwell Frost. And look at the reasoning, Sabby, for bringing the flair and fury to his generation to Congress.
What flair? What fury?
What flair? What fury? Like, what?
A lot of this is just representation.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's just like optics. Like, they haven't actually done anything.
Yeah, it's like just optics. It's like, oh, here's a bunch of Black people and here's a bunch of brown people, and then let's put them in your face without them actually doing anything really meaningful for people.
Right. Right.
Because look, I live in this guy's district. Nothing's changed yet.
There you go. That's right. For people who didn't know, Jaybe is in his district. So just FYI.
Christian Walker and the women for dropping a bombshell on Herschel Walker's campaign, changing his course.
That's Herschel Walker's son, right?
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you.
Like, what?
This is desperate. It's desperation.
Yeah, definitely. Diana Huang for creating a political infrastructure so Asian American Pacific Islander women can lead.
That's an audience pick too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it says in 2009, she funded the only group solely focused on growing number of progressive Asian American Pacific Islander women in political leadership. Last year, the Asian American Women's Political Initiative launched its first kind of national fellowship and incubator program, activating women focused on changing and giving them up to $10,000 for civic impact projects.
Interesting.
I don't really have much to say about that one. Edward Blum says for leading conservative argument on momentous affirmative action cases.
Again, for doing his job.
For doing his job. Kimberly Yee for withstanding Arizona's blue wave to win re-election by a double-digit margin.
They put people on this list just because they won like their seat or something. Like, this is yikes.
You know what? They're effing with us right now. Here you go, Sabs. Here you go.
For what? For what?
For demanding action on the unbelievable water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi.
Was this before or after he made fun of low income, potential students that he was trying to recruit? What a joke, man. You guys don't know they used to call Deion Sanders prime time, like when he played football, because he played football and baseball for people who don't know. That was like back in the day. I don't think people do that today, though. But like back then, he played football and baseball, and people used to call him Mr. Primetime. They used to call him Primetime. He also came out with an album. He cannot sing really, but he's done those things. But this is just, oh boy. Did he give them any water? Rome did.
I don't know. Deion Sanders got it, by the way.
Yeah.
He got it.
Very well.
Right. We all know this torture maniac from Guantanamo Bay, and also the governor of my state, said for bucking popular sentiment to harness the culture wars and cement GOP power. Yeah, whatever. We got you. Rachel Levine for leading White House efforts to dispel misinformation on trans rights. Tish James for her laser focus on prosecuting Donald Trump's actions and dealings.
For doing her job.
Rachel Sweet for winning the first test of state abortion policy at the ballot box. Let me see. Todd Kim for holding perpetrators of environmental crimes accountable.
Okay.
For doing his job, but
still doing his job. I don't think
environmental crimes. I agree. That's fine. Alexis McGill Johnson for organizing Planned Parenthood's biggest political push ever in the midterms. Let me see. Wisdom Cole for organizing, persuading, and rallying to cancel student debt.
And that's the audience pick.
Yeah, and I'm cool with this one.
Yep.
So we ain't got much to say there. And then Alejandra Caraballo and Chase Strangio says for tracking and litigating anti-trans bills in America in their many iterations. So Tom Rogers for influencing the Hill on issues from cannabis policy to tribal recognition. I mean, tribal recognition, I don't have a problem with. In cannabis policy.
What cannabis policy? They haven't done anything about it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. But his hair matches the suit. Terrence Woodbury for warning the Democratic Party not to take black voters for granted.
Bruh, Jaybe.
Yes, ma'am. I don't think he succeeded. What do you think?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, hell, a lot of people have done that.
Yep. Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin.
You gotta be kidding me. No. What?
Yeah, I know. Barack Obama.
But what was theirs for? I'm sorry, I didn't get to
Them?
read. Yeah, what was theirs for?
For keeping the filibuster, even if it meant tanking Democrats' election reform. That's what it was for.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And then they got to put this war criminal, Barack Obama, for closing the 2022 midterms.
Oh my God.
And then Karen Bass for taking immediate action as Los Angeles mayor to fight homelessness, even though homelessness still is raging on in Los Angeles.
I was about to say, like, I don't know about that. I have 1 minute. I have to go. But
yeah. So what's going on with you? And I'll carry on with the chats, and then I'll close out the show. But what you got going on tonight?
Just talking about news. We're going to talk about the recent actions between Russia and Ukraine. Joe Biden's crime accusation that they have against Joe Biden right now. And then also Barack Obama and a couple other people speaking out during a World Press Day yesterday. So we're going to talk about that in reference to like Julian Assange. And then I forgot what the other story was. But anyway, yeah.
Okay. Make sure in 30 minutes to be in Sabby's chat, because she's going to do for all of you. All right, Sabs. I'll see you later.
Bye.
All right. So this is Greg says, what percentage of Asian American women would actually benefited from it, though? That's actually a good question. Yeah. Yes, Tortuguita should have been on a list like that. I honestly think that he died a martyr. Or died a martyr. So, yeah. Shireen Abdul Ekle, yeah, should have been on the list, because apparently they were so prolific in the work that they did that the Israeli government had to, get rid of them. Oh gosh. This is just Greg says we need more leaders for a certain demographic as code for tokenism. Yeah, that's true. Yes, bad cookies. Ron effing DeSantis. This list was super cringe. Roger Meadow says, yes, I was waiting for a must be the money Dion to see Sabby reaction. Moses West should be on this list. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wasn't Moses West the guy that created that machine that literally pulls moisture out of the air and creates clean water? Wasn't that the guy? I think that's the guy. I think that's the guy that you're talking about, Roger. Let me know. Let me see. A non-user says, parents, don't let your children visit websites like this one. Don't let them rot their brains. Yeah. Remember how they used to say, TV will rot your brain? Yeah, no. Video games will rot your brain? No. Politico, New York Times, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, that will rot your brain. And it's rotting the brain of our parents. Gosh, goodness gracious. Where's Hirsch on this list? I don't know. That's funny. Swearing Fairy says, where's the wood chipper? Oh my goodness, just making sure I get through these comments. All right. This was hilarious. Yes. Okay. Roger Meadow, sorry, said atmospheric water generator Moses West. Okay. All right. Thank you so very much. Appreciate that. Let's check The Rock really quick before I get going. No Monarch, no Marianne Williamson on this one. All right. So Dave Burr says, so I'm so sick of hearing Bad Bunny all the time. Oh my goodness. Bad Bunny is so overplayed. I don't think I've ever heard a song from Bad Bunny. Dear God. Okay. Thank you so much, Dave Burt. Dave Burt. Ernie. All right. So just to let you guys know, I did my show earlier today on my channel. If you guys want, you guys can go to my channel. I was talking about the conflict and the proxy war. That's right, proxy war that's going on in Sudan. So if you guys would like, you guys can go to my channel and see my latest live stream. And I'll also be coming up with clips in a couple days for talking about what's going on in Sudan. So please make sure to tune in for that. Also on my channel, I was also talking about what's going on in my city of Orlando, Florida. That's right. What's going on is there was a strike between Uber and Lyft drivers against these rideshare companies because they are treating them basically like slaves. They are giving them slave wages, and because they are listed as independent contractors, then they cannot have things like a living wage. They can't have things like benefits, healthcare, and minimum wage. And so because of that, they are out in full force and protesting and striking against Uber and Lyft. So you guys can tune in and find that also on my channel as well. You guys, I actually have it linked in the chat as well for my channel. And also, if you guys would like to, on my channel, I also do readings. I just finished the reading for chapter 11 of Assata Shakur's autobiography. So if you guys would like, you guys can go to my channel for the reading and discussion of Assata Shakur's book. And then I will be venturing soon into chapter 2 of the book Laziness Does Not Exist by Dr. Devon Price. I do readings of different books on my channel, and we discuss it as well. So if you guys would like to, you guys can get into that as well. I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Also, please make sure to give this stream a like. Please make sure, if you guys have not, make sure to subscribe to RBN, and also see Sabby in 24 minutes from now on her channel. And then you guys can come back here on RBN tomorrow night to see Sabby on here at 6 p.m. Eastern. You guys can catch me on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Jaybe show on RBN. Now, thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. And also, if you guys would like to give to Aaron, our graphics designer, you guys can go to Venmo at Revolutionary Blackout or Cash App $Mutual Aid Forever. She does amazing work. So thank you so very much to Aaron. And go ahead and give a like on your way out. Thank you so much to everybody. And I will say peace, chicken grease, and hot combs. Hot combs. Bye.